What's up, everybody? We're here on FreeCodeCamp.org for a daily coding challenge, September 20th. This one's called File Storage. Looks a lot like the challenge we did yesterday, but looks like we got some extra steps. Given a file size, a unit for the file size, and hard drive capacity in gigabytes, return the number of files the hard drive can store using the following constraints. The unit for the file size can be bytes or B, kilobytes, KB or megabytes, MB. So that's a pattern right there that we can lock into. We will be returning the number of whole files the drive can fit. So think back to the daily challenge yesterday on how we did that and use the following conversions. 1 byte is equivalent to 1 byte. You don't say. 1 kilobyte is worth 1,000 bytes. 1 megabyte is worth 1,000 kilobytes. 1 gigabyte is worth 1,000 megabytes. So you see a pattern here we could lock into as well. From K to M, we exponentially increase. And from M to G, we exponentially increase. And I can show you that in the code in a second. For example, given 500, the string KB, and the number 1 as arguments, determine how many 500 kilobyte files can fit on a 1 gigabyte hard drive. So there you go. And we have our test cases down here if you want to understand more about what's going on, but this is pretty straightforward. So I'm going to approach this with some conversion. Let me know if you could think of a better way to do this, but I would just take the drive size and convert it down to bytes. I would put the file size and the drive size on the same terms. The file size could be bytes, so I'm going to start there and just try to put them both in terms of bytes. Drive size first. How would we convert this single number that represents gigabytes down into bytes? I would do drive size gigabytes times 1,000 to the third power. So if we have, like in one of these test cases, let's say if we have 100 gigabytes, that would be 100 times 1,000 to the third power. And that would be a billion. 3 sets of 3 zeros and a 1, that's a billion. So we're basically multiplying whatever we get in drive size by a billion to get our drive size in bytes. And maybe I'll say DS bytes. And now with the file size, it can be one of 3 options, depending on our file unit. So I will call this FS bytes, and we know right away if we get just a B, we don't have to do any conversion. So we could take care of that case by just looking at file unit.length, like the length of the string in the second parameter. Let's see, the length is greater than 1. We'll do something to convert it, but if not, then just put the file size in it. It's already in bytes. If not, or if it's longer than 1, we'll either have an M or a K, and we can look at file unit at the 0th element. If that's equal to M, then we will want to multiply the file size by 1,000 to the second power. And that will convert our megabyte file size down into bytes. And equally, we can do just file size times 1,000. Let me do something like this. Yeah, this will convert the kilobytes. So if it's kilobytes, we need to multiply it by 1,000 to get to bytes. That's over here in this conversion table. If it's megabytes, we need one power of 1,000 would convert it to kilobytes. And then the second power of 1,000 would convert it to bytes. And now, if you didn't see our Daily Code Challenge video yesterday, or if you didn't do the Daily Code Challenge yesterday, or you didn't do it this way, I can re-explain this a little bit. All we're doing is taking the drive size divided by the file size. But we may end up with some decimal value, and we don't care about the remaining partial files that could possibly be stored on the drive. Once it's all filled all the way up, almost completely maxed out, there'll be some remaining amount of a file, like a fraction of a file that we could store. We don't care about that. So we take our math object provided by JavaScript and call floor on it. And floor accepts a float number and rounds it down to its nearest integer whole number. And that should be the solution, I think. Pretty straightforward. And hold your breath. Let's run the tests. And we passed. So thanks for watching. Be back tomorrow with another daily code challenge. And I wish you much luck in your coding journey, my friends. Talk at you later.